FragPunk is a brand new 5v5 shooter similar to Valorant and Counter-Strike, and it's weird because I played my first match and it kind of brought back memories of Brink, if anybody remembers that from 2011. More specifically the visuals though, not necessarily the gameplay. What really makes FragPunk different is its shard cards, which let players change the rules of each match. But is this a game-changing feature, or just a flashy gimmick? Let's find out. The first time you log in, there's an intro video, a terms of use agreement to accept, and you need to link an account to NetEase Games. This could be a Steam, Google, or Facebook account. Once that's done, you're dropped into a tutorial. I didn't skip the tutorial because I wanted to learn the game, and so it took about 6 minutes. A couple of things to note. The intro video covers the loading shader screen that everybody loves so much in modern gaming. Also, you can skip the tutorial if you want. Once you're set up, finding a match is fast. Most games start within seconds, though Outbreak mode, which I'll get to in a little bit, took a few minutes, probably because it's not as popular. Joining a friend is simple. If you're friends on Steam, you can send them an invite through the Steam tab. Otherwise, just type their name into the search, add them, and invite them. Figuring out each match's objective is kind of tricky to talk about because I have mixed feelings. Personally, I think each mode makes sense and is pretty easy to understand, but I also took the time to read the description before jumping in, so I knew what to do. It felt like some players didn't do that, and they seemed confused on what was going on. That made things frustrating because our team wasn't as good as it could have been. For example, Glue Knight grab is like Call of Duty's Kill Confirmed, but instead of picking up dog tags after a frag, you pick up Glue Knight. But I saw players on both teams getting frags and then just walking away from the Glue Knight, and it wasn't because there were more enemies around, they just seemed like they didn't know what to do. At the end of the match, you can see I grabbed most of the Glue Knight for our team. The top 2 players on the leaderboard had almost 10 more kills than me, but they barely picked up any. Well, second place got half as much as I did, so that's something, I guess. Anyway, that's just an example. Let's move on. FragPunk has daily, weekly, and seasonal challenges that give you rewards for completing tasks. There's also porcelain hunting, which is another set of challenges that gives you rewards, plus porcelain, which you can use on things like weapon skins. It kind of looks like a seasonal event, but I couldn't find anything about a time limit other than the day 1 through day 7 buttons on the porcelain hunting screen. So I'm not sure if it's a permanent challenge or if it changes over time. You're also rewarded for achievements, which are tier challenges that you accomplish over time. Story challenges allow you to unlock more of FragPunk's story. I have to admit the intro video was a bit confusing because it didn't offer a lot of information into what was going on, and seemingly there's no other information to discover in the menus other than the story challenges. Story challenges unlock newspaper-esque articles that provide some additional details around the game's story, as well as magazines that provide insight into Lancers. Speaking of Lancers, this might be a good time to talk about them. Each character in the game is called a Lancer. They have their own unique abilities, levels, and backstories, but they can use any weapon they want, unless shard cards get in the way. Shard cards let you change the rules of each match. Some give you team bonuses like extra ammo, healing teammates with friendly fire, or moving faster. Others make things harder for the enemy team by removing a target site, making one foggy, or even making their heads bigger so they're easier to hit. There are 169 shard cards in the standard clash mode right now, so there's a lot of variety. The main game mode in FragPunk is called Shard Clash. Everyone can play in the standard mode, but once you reach level 30, you unlock advanced standard and ranked modes. Besides Shard Clash, there's an arcade mode with different ways to play. Battle rotation changes every 15 minutes and includes Team Deathmatch, Free-for-All, and Glue Knight Grab. Arcade rotation switches every 72 hours and has modes like Melee Deathmatch, Mirror Clash, Sniper Deathmatch, Capture the Core, and Chaos Clash. Lastly, if you want to practice, there are 2 training modes, or you can set up a custom game to play with friends. I didn't have time to try every mode, but for the ones I did play, they were a lot of fun. On March 8th, just 2 days after FragPunk's release, its 24-hour peak hit a little over 85,000 players. I've already mentioned that FragPunk's core gameplay is similar to Valorant and Counter-Strike, but when it comes to player numbers, wow, what a difference. At the time I checked, Counter-Strike's 24-hour peak was 1.7 million, about 15 times higher. For Valorant, data from tracker.gg showed nearly 6 million players tracked that day, though it didn't list the peak player count. Either way, that's a huge difference. There's a lot to like about FragPunk, and I want to highlight some of the things that the game does really well. Shard cards add a ton of variety to each match. In one game, I spawned with only a knife, and at first I was confused, and then I realized the enemy team had played a card that made that happen. I wasn't ready for it, so I died pretty fast, but surprises like that keep the game interesting and make you think about how to get back at the enemy next round. Each Lancer has unique abilities, and they're all fun to play. Some are easy to understand while others take a little bit of practice, but that's where the training area really helps. I didn't spend much time in there, but it was enough time to figure out how certain Lancers work. It's important to be flexible too, because if you're not quick, someone on your team might pick your favorite Lancer before you do. The game runs really well. On my system with a 7950X, 64GB of DDR5, and an RTX 4080, I was getting anywhere from 200 to 400 FPS on epic settings. That's with DLSS 4 set to balanced and frame gen turned off. We're so used to newly released games these days having performance issues, but I didn't run into any performance issues at all, which is awesome. The highlights feature is great, especially if you like sharing clips. It automatically puts all of your kills from a match into one video. If you get multiple kills in a row, it makes special multi-frag clips. I've seen this in other games before, but not often. It's super useful for content creators or anyone who just wants to share these cool moments. In fact, if you're watching this, you can check out the YouTube shorts I uploaded with some of my top moments. After you're done with this video, of course. I'll link them in the description. Finally, the number of game modes is awesome. Almost every game mode I played was fun, except for one, which I'll get to in a second. I also love the rotating playlists, with one changing every 15 minutes and the other every 72 hours. It gives you plenty of options without splitting the player base too much, which can be a problem if modes rotate too slowly, like, every week or every month. Now let's talk about the game mode I didn't like, Outbreak. In this mode, Lancers try to hold off the infected, but if they take too much damage, they become infected. The problem is that it felt almost impossible to survive. Even fighting off just one infected was tough, let alone more. On top of that, I think part of the map might have been bugged. There was a jump that only a couple of players could land, but no matter how many times I tried it, I just couldn't make it. So either it was a bug that some players were exploiting, or it was meant to work that way. But if that's the case, it seems like it should have been easier to access like all of the other areas of the map. Since it was the highest spot on the map, I don't think players were supposed to be up there. Another thing that could be improved is the time between rounds. It moves fast. If you're not already familiar with the shard cards, each Lancer, and every weapon, it's hard to get everything done before the next round starts. You can also check the enemy team's shard cards during this time, but if you miss it, they only flash on screen for about 3 seconds before the match begins. That's not much time, especially with over 160 cards in standard play. If you don't already know what they do, it's tough to keep up. Rewards are another mixed bag. It's nice to earn rewards just by playing, but like a lot of free-to-play games these days, there's just way too many different screens for claiming them. Honestly, it's annoying. It'd be so much better if all rewards were in one place instead of spread across multiple menus. Right now, I have little GIF icons popping up all over the place, which just makes it feel cluttered. Speaking of menus, navigation is a mess. There are too many different sections, redemption menus, quest menus, gameplay menus, and extra things to click on that aren't even under a menu at all. It feels like developers are doing this on purpose, probably to play on gamers' FOMO on bonuses and rewards, which is how they get them to check every screen. But from a gamer's perspective, it's frustrating. I'd much rather spend my time playing the game instead of digging through menus. I really enjoyed my time with FragPunk. It's not a genre I play often, but I had a lot of fun with it. The shard cards were a unique twist that I don't really remember seeing in any other games, unless you count Big Heads and GoldenEye. It was interesting to have to adjust to the cards played against us while also having to plant the device or defend each point. There's also a fun little surprise if both teams are tied at the start of the 7th round, but I won't spoil it. You'll have to play the game and find out for yourself. The last question I always try to answer in these reviews is, would I come back to this game? FragPunk makes this a tough one. The game is fun solo, and I bet it would be even better with friends. If your squad isn't already hooked on a 5v5 shooter, or you just want to, break from your usual game, you'll definitely have fun for a few rounds. But here's the thing. Games like Valorant and Counter-Strike already have a dedicated player base. I can picture someone who plays Valorant telling their friends to check out this new game, and those friends just laughing before going right back to playing Valorant. That's the challenge FragPunk faces. It's good to see player numbers holding steady after a few days, but they're not really growing, and that could be a problem. With such strong competition in this genre, I have to put myself in the shoes of somebody who is likely playing another game like Valorant or Counter-Strike. If I were to suggest FragPunk as an alternative, I would run the risk of my friends roasting me for it. That's why I don't think I would come back to FragPunk. Overall, it's a fun game, but it's up against some tough competition. It could be a great way for players to try 5v5 arena games, but with bigger and more popular options out there, it needs to do even more to stand out. That's why FragPunk gets a 7 out of 10, putting it in A tier. If you're thinking about trying FragPunk, I've added links to the store page in the description. If you like this video or agree with the A tier rating, hit that like button. If you have a free-to-play game that you'd like me to review, or if you plan to play FragPunk, let me know down in the comments. Also, don't forget to hit the video link on your screen, because the next game might be your new favorite.